Hey guys, I'm Jay Timmerman, and I first want to do a little introduction about myself. I first of all am very excited to teach you guys about my topic, which will be how to design a pay structure. First off, about me, Jay Timmerman. I am from Kansas City, Kansas. That is in the heart of America, so the very middle of America. And yes, I am tall. I am 6 feet 6 inches tall, and that is 1.98 meters. And then I just recently got my Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from Kansas State University. And as you can see, these slides are a little bit hard to see, so I emailed them to you as an attachment, and so you can follow along hopefully as I go through these slides that I prepared for this little sample presentation. So designing a pay structure. This is based on compensation and performance management, and it's basically, so when you're in a company and you're determining the incentives or compensation for a company, this is how you would design a structure to make this happen. So step one is a job analysis. And in a job analysis, you first of all want to look at and study other jobs in the same company, ideally the same industry that you are in. For example, if I work for a restaurant and I am paying a waiter or waitress this amount, I want to kind of see how it compares or looks in another restaurant serving the same food and with the same price for menu. So in a job analysis, you'll want to look at basically just make sure the same job title is the same, the tasks are the same, responsibilities, knowledge, and skills. So I have up here an example, and this example is a front desk receptionist. And so this is a very common job analysis that you'll see for a front desk receptionist. So I have here, and again, I know you can't see, but hopefully if you have it up on the PowerPoint you can tell, job summary, essential job tasks, job content, and knowledge, skills, and ability. So you can take this data, this information, and look at other companies and see how they compare. So step two is a job evaluation, and this is to judge the worth of the job in the company. So this is to see the value or how you should compensate, how you should pay this job within your company. So there are three very common methods used to determine a job evaluation. So the three are the point method, ranking, and classification. So the other two, ranking and classification, they're common, but the most common is the point method, and that's the one I'll be describing throughout this presentation. So this is an example, and I'll work through this throughout this presentation, throughout this sample, but of a point system. So, and this is also very simplified compared to some other more in-depth. So this is a simple for a sample. You have skills, responsibility, and effort. And so those are the three categories that we'll be looking at and how you will judge a pay. And then within those three factors, you have the degrees for which you'll measure them, the weight for how much you think they have that value in your company, and then points. So the points is multiplying the degrees times the weight. And then once you get that, then you come and you get a total. And this total down here will be what you compare the value and how much you should compensate for this person, this employee. So for example, we have skills, and then education, and then degree of technical skills. So previously we determined how valuable a receptionist should have these skills. So in education, this company does not believe that you need a very much education for a front desk receptionist. So we put the degree at 1, and then also technical skills of 1. And then the weight, however, compared to skill, responsibility, and effort, the skill is the most important weighted percentage compared to those three. So we put 25% for the education level and 25% of the degree of technical skill. So degree of technical skill would be, use of a computer, typing, taking handwritten notes, things of that sort that you would want a front desk receptionist, who is the person that you see when you walk into the company, wanting to make an appointment, wanting to make a meeting. So the technical skills, we put the weight, it is very valuable for the receptionist to have that. So because of, a job analysis, that's where we get the degree, the value from. So the degree is 1, and then the weight is 25%. So that's 25 points. And so after we've determined the degree and weight and point total for each of these factors, then we get a total in points, and then we find a total here for 120 points. So that's just a really quick kind of overview of how you would find a point scale for a front desk receptionist. So step 3 that we have is pay policy identification. So simply put, will the company lead, lag, or meet the market in compensation? In other words, will your company lead, as in pay more, compensate more, pay your employees more, or lag, so pay your employees less, or right in the middle of the market? And so we'll talk about this later, but the lead, lag, and meeting the market will affect the attraction and retention of employees. So this next diagram that I have is of a external, so outside. So for example, another company, maybe another restaurant, if you have a restaurant and you're looking at the other restaurant, this will be how they pay their employees. So another example would be, how much do they pay their waiters? How much do they pay their hostess? How much do they pay their cooks and chefs? And so this example that I have here are common payments for that front desk receptionist that I've been using. So at company A, they pay their receptionist an average of $21,000 annually. and then this is company B, C, D, E, and F. And of course, the more companies you have, and the more number of incumbents, or the more numbers that you take your data from, the more accurate your information will be. So, in other words, the more samples, the more accurate your information will be. So here we have the averages of each of the companies, and so then we can have an average of all these numbers to come up with a really good average salary amount for a front desk receptionist. So step 4 is pay survey analysis. So the big question in this step is, how do other companies pay the same job? So this is very similar to what we've looked at, and which jobs should retain or attract more. So basically, once you realize what your company is leading the market and paying your employees at, then you can kind of determine which employees you want to lead, lag, or meet at the market. For example, in a restaurant, if you want to be known for very friendly and kind service, if that's your number one priority, then you will want to lead the market and pay more for your hostess or your waiter or waitress, because they're the ones that are going to be right there with the customer, interacting and being a great customer service. And you might even lag or meet the market for your chefs or cooks, because if your priority is number one to have good personal interaction, then maybe you'd want to have the best. You'd pay extra and attract more for the best hostess and the best waitresses. And then if you don't care so much about how the food tastes, then you could meet the market or even lag the market for your cooks. And so that will also retain and keep the best hosts and the best waiters and waitresses. All right, and the last step, step 5 of this process, is pay structure creation. So this is kind of where we get into all the numbers. So this is where we can really analyze and look at each pay level. So what is most common in companies is to have pay grades. So as opposed to paying, let's say you have a big company, 1,000 employees, instead of paying each employee 1,000 different payments, it's very easy to lump up into 5 segments. For example, waiters and waitresses pay the same grade, so within a couple $1,000s, but still within the same grade. Managers, 1 grade. Cooks, another grade, whether that's higher or lower within the scale. So you want to find the pay grade and the pay range, and then you want to compare your company with other companies. So an example of this pay grade is given here. Salary on the left, and then the employee within your company on the right, so on this bottom x-axis. So for example, your employee A will get paid within this range, employee B, C, and so on. And then you can come up with a pay policy line. And so the purpose of this data is to analyze and compare your salaries, your compensation with other companies. And this is what other policies will look like. So this is, how you would base pay an entrepreneurial, performance-driven. For example, if you're trying to sell cars and all you care about is selling cars, it's most important to have a high bonus and high benefits. And so that's given here in the blue and the orange, and kind of a smaller base pay. So that really drives the business of selling and sales, as opposed to just sitting back and let other people sell, which is security. So maybe sometimes you can't sell many cars, maybe sometimes you can sell a ton of cars. But if you wanted to be secure and get the same base pay, then you'd want small benefits and then have all of a base pay. So these are just kind of examples of how designing a pay plan can affect different jobs. So that is all I have for today. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll be talking to you shortly. Thank you very much.